Even the most beloved children's cartoons aren't immune to intense internet speculation. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 SpongeBob SquarePants fan theories. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're breaking down the craziest theories put forth by fans throughout SpongeBob SquarePants' decade-plus run. Number 10. It's all about drugs.
There it is. The finest eating establishment ever established for eating.
This theory has been making the rounds on a handful of websites for years, and for good reason. The theory supposes that SpongeBob, with his vast imagination and wild emotional swings, is on shrooms, or some other form of hallucinogenic. Squidward, constantly moody and deceptive to the bone, is on heroin. Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff, with their edgy, paranoid personalities, are taking cocaine. And Patrick, a laid-back optimist who's constantly hungry, is obviously smoking the reefer. All in all, this theory appears pretty solid. Then again, you could probably slap the same generic personality traits on the characters of any cartoon, and say they're on drugs, so we're not exactly sold.
Sorry, my lips are a little dry.
Number 9. One episode was a metaphor for sex. One of the best parts about rewatching a childhood show is realizing just how many of the jokes were aimed at adults, not kids. With that being said, if this theory is to be believed, we feel bad for anyone who recently rewatched the season 1 episode Karate Choppers.
Now, prepare for a long, merciless whooping!
In the episode, SpongeBob and Sandy become obsessed with doing karate together. They do it at home, they do it in public, and they even do it over the phone. See where we're going with this? The theory postulates that karate is simply a metaphor for sex, and that SpongeBob and Sandy are basically doing the dirty the entire episode. Let's hope this one isn't true.
Safety first!
Number 8. The characters are stand-ins for Marxist philosophies.
Those patties aren't gonna cook themselves, SpongeBob!
According to one Reddit user, SpongeBob SquarePants is really all about Marxism, an ideology propagated by philosopher Karl Marx in the 19th century, and that sparked the rise of communism in the ensuing years. Well, that and how capitalism totally sucks. Mr. Krabs, a greedy business owner who exploits his workers, is bourgeoisie to a T. Squidward is the union man, galvanizing the workers to go on strike, and SpongeBob is your everyday working man, following in the boss's footsteps and hoping one day to take over his position. Whether or not any kids have picked up on this remains to be seen.
Got to make Krabby Patties!
Number 7. Squidward's penis is on his face.
What's going on out here?
SpongeBob would not be SpongeBob without Squidward, the show's resident curmudgeon. He basically sucks the fun out of everything by being a total dickhead. And according to one Redditor, it might be because his penis is literally on his face. Creator Steven Hillenburg has stated that despite his name, Squidward is actually an octopus, and an octopus's reproductive organs are actually near their heads. Others have even suggested that the reason old Squiddy doesn't wear pants is because he's got nothing to hide down there. Because, you know, his penis is on his face. Sorry, we just like saying that.
There's got to be some way to reverse this!
Number 6. SpongeBob is a prodigy.
Hi, Squidward! Are you taking this art class too?
Anyone who's watched the show and or the movies knows that SpongeBob is special. In various episodes, he can be seen mastering a variety of complex skills that range from sculpting to the development of a series of intricate bubble-blowing techniques. Well, according to one Reddit user, it's because SpongeBob SquarePants is, quote, arguably the most gifted yet underachieving creature shown on TV. Their reasoning for this bold claim is that Bikini Bottom's resident sponge can pick up just about any skill on the fly, master it, and go on to produce something extraordinary with it. At worst, SpongeBob is extremely lucky, and at best, he's a freaking god. Number 5. SpongeBob Died or Got Amnesia in Season 3.
My brain is full to bursting! If I have to memorize a single order, I think I'm gonna explode!
Between Seasons 3 and 4, SpongeBob went from being a clever, albeit slightly inexperienced creature, to a bumbling doofus who constantly makes irrational and or dumb decisions. Some have pointed to the Season 3 episode, Squilliam Returns, as the reason for this, claiming he suffered amnesia at the hands of Squidward.
Now, I want you to empty your mind.
Empty my mind?
Others have put forth the theory that the character actually died in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, which came out between seasons 3 and 4, and that because SpongeBob is asexual, he simply birthed a new version of himself, aka a child. This would explain why he's so different from season 4 onward.
Hey, we're alive!
Number 4, Mr. Krabs is a cannibal.
As of tomorrow, I'm closing the Krusty Krab.
One question that has lingered over SpongeBob SquarePants since the very beginning is what Krabby Patties are made of. Well, one fan theory suggests that it's crabs, which by default would make Mr. Krabs a cannibal. The theory postulates that the reason Mr. Krabs and his mother are pretty much the only Krabs viewers ever see is because he's using the rest of them to feed his customers. Yikes! If that wasn't bad enough, another theory suggests that Krabby Patties are actually made from Pearl's mother, and that once Mr. Krabs has used up all of her meat, he'll kill Pearl and begin serving her to the residents of Bikini Bottom. Disturbed yet?
You bet your bottom dollar.
Me bottom dollar! Well, I'd never do that.
Number 3, all the characters' names refer to female genitalia.
It happened once in Bikini Bottom. Here.
Once you start to break down this theory, put forth by Crack.com, it actually starts to sound pretty legit. First off, the show is set in Bikini Bottom. Enough said. Second, the lead character is a sponge. And what do sponges do? They soak things up, like a tampon. Then there's Patrick the Starfish, which is another way of referring to someone's butthole. We can't forget Mr. Krabs, whose name is slang for a sexually transmitted disease found in pubic hair. Finally, there's Sandy Cheeks. You know, like what happens to a bikini bottom? Convinced?
Well, tan my fur. They made it.
Number 2, the main characters personify the 7 deadly sins. This theory supposes that many of the characters on SpongeBob SquarePants are actually personifications of the 7 deadly sins. Squidward, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs are clearly wrath, sloth, and greed respectively. Sandy is pride, always getting high on her own gains, and Plankton is envy, thanks to his bitterness towards Mr. Krabs and his thriving restaurant business.
Get ready, Krabs, for the surprise of your life!
Meanwhile, both Gary the Snail and Mrs. Puff are total gluttons, and SpongeBob and Pearl are both filled with lust, one for life, the other for boys. Whether it was intentional or not, this theory is certainly an interesting one.
Teenage Boy Museum. Teenage Boy Museum.
Number 1, Bikini Bottom is the result of nuclear testing.
My love for historical battles is so great, I join these losers every year to reenact the Battle of Bikini Bottom.
Bikini Bottom is situated beneath the infamous real-life location of Bikini Atoll, which was used by the United States as a nuclear test site in the 1940s and 50s. As such, there are those that theorize SpongeBob and his friends are the way they are because of the high levels of radiation in their city, using it as an explanation for why they can talk and why they act so strange. Pretty much everyone has shot down this theory, from creator Steven Hillenburg to the voice of SpongeBob himself, Tom Kenny. But despite its constant rebuking, the theory continues to persist, thanks in part to how sensible it seems.
Another beautiful Sunday in Bikini Bottom.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.